Hello, lovely student. Welcome to my lesson on string manipulation. In today's lesson, we're going to be focusing on built-in procedures, which we called predefined procedures in string handling. So we spoke about functions earlier on in my past few lessons, and we spoke about functions being length, pause, copy. Today we're going to be looking at procedures, built-in procedures, and the delete procedure is the first one I'd like to focus on. So how do we delete part of a string? So delete. So using delete, I've got an example where sname is storing a full name, a first name followed by a space, followed by a surname. In order for me to delete, and I want to delete the first name, I need to find the position of the space in the first name. So using pause that we've already studied, and remember pause is a function, I'm finding the position of the space in sname. And then I'm going to use the delete procedure. So delete is called where I want to delete, my starting position, and how many characters I want to delete. So it's called with 3 parameters, again, from where I want to delete, my starting position of where I want to start deleting, and how many characters I want to delete. So I'm deleting from sname. I want to start at position 1. So from sname has the string of the full name, Prissy Naidu. I want to start at position 1, so it's going to delete from the letter P. How many characters I want to take? I want to take IPOS number of characters. And what's IPOS? I'm finding the position of the space. So at what index is the space? Let's look at this example. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. At index 7 is the position of the space. Remember, a string starts at index 1. So do I want to delete including the space? So if I want to delete including the space, it's IPOS. So that will delete the first name and the position of the space. So remember, when you're using delete, it removes part of sname. It deletes a number of characters starting at a given position. And the last point is extremely important. Delete does not return a new string. It changes sname directly. So when I change this string and I remove from sname, start at position 1 and delete to the position of the space, this original string sname is now going to change, and it's going to be left with just the surname Naidu. I also want you to take note of the predefined function. A function returns a value, and I'm calling the function and sending an argument with 2 parameters, and I'm storing it in a variable. But when I call a procedure, the procedure is just called by its name. So delete, I'm not storing it in any variable. I'm just calling it by its name, and delete is called with 3 parameters being sent as an argument to this procedure. And the parameters are where I want to delete, the variable, my starting position, and how many characters. Remember, it starts deleting from a certain position. And the last important point about delete is that it changes the string variable directly. It does not create a new string. It changes the existing string directly. Right, so let's look at something for you can try. Get out a page and a pen and see if you can do the following 3 examples. Determine the value of S input after the following steps. If S input is initialized to I love information technology, remember, S input will change after each time the statement is executed. So what will S input be after this delete statement? So I want to delete from S input starting in position 1, and I want to take 2 characters. So if you're looking at the string I love information technology, I want to start at position 1 and I want to delete how many characters? Remember that S input will change that string, the original string. After this, if I have to execute the next statement, and I want to delete from S input, start at position 1, and I want to delete 5 characters. What will S input now have? And after the second statement has been executed, when I execute the third statement, what would be the new value of S input? Remember, it changes the existing variable. Press pause and try it for yourself. So using the delete procedure, if I had to delete from S input, start at position 1 and take 2 characters, it's going to delete index 1 and index 2, which is I and the space. So what I'm left with is love information technology. So in the first example, you should have had love information technology. In the second example, remember, S input now has the changed string, which is love information technology. If I had to delete from 1, starting at position 1 and take 5 characters, it's going to start at L and it's going to take 5 characters including the space, and it's going to delete the first word including the space. And what I'm going to be left with is information technology. In the last example, it's going to delete from position 1 and take 12 characters. So it's going to start at I and it's going to take including the space, and S input will then be left with technology. Let's now going to have a look at some Delphi coding, and we're going to apply what we have learned in principle using the delete procedure. Okay, so I've created a Delphi project and I've called it delete. I've got a GUI, a label to enter a sentence, a T-edit to get user input onto a text box, onto an edit box, a rich edit to display, and I've got 2 buttons, and we're going to manipulate a sentence using delete. So let's do the first one. So in the first one, I've got a variable, sent, which is of data type string. I am extracting a sentence from an edit box. And then I'm using the delete procedure. I'm deleting from the sentence, start at position 1 and take 5 characters. Let's change that. Okay, leave it at 5 characters. And then all I'm doing is displaying the sentence after the first 5 characters have been deleted. Remember again, delete is a procedure. It's called by its name. Delete is called with 3 parameters: where I want to delete, starting position, and how many characters. Let's run this and see how it works. Okay, so let's enter a sentence. Today is an amazing day! Exclamation mark. When I delete, remember it's going to start at position 1, which is the T, and it's going to take 5 characters, which is T-O-D-A-Y. But I'm still left with a space. So let's see what it's going to do. So it gave me the space and is an amazing day! Exclamation mark. Okay, let's look at the next button and let's code that. We can play around with it. Let's try deleting. Let's change that and let's delete the first 3 characters. Let's run it and see what happens. Okay, so let's enter another sentence. IT is fun! Exclamation mark. Remember, we're deleting starting at position 1 and take 3 characters. So it's going to delete IT and a space, and it's going to be left with is fun! Exclamation mark. Let's check it out. There you go. All right, let's do another example. So this time we're going to code delete first word of a sentence. So what I want to do, I just want to adjust my margin so that it's more visible for you. Okay, so let's delete the first word. So I'm going to create a variable called sSent, and it's of data type string. sSent is getting a value from a tEdit, EDT control space, dot text. Okay. Now in order for me to delete the first word of a sentence, we know that a sentence is separated by spaces. So I need to get the position of the space. Let's create a variable called ipos. And ipos is of data type integer. And let's track the position of the space. So ipos, using pos, I can now get the position of the space. So remember, a space is single quote, space bar, single quote, and pos is called with 2 parameters. What I'm searching for and where am I searching for? Okay, so I'm searching for the position of a space in the variable sSent. That's my string variable. Okay, and remember, I'm sending in that as an argument to the function pos. Now that I know the position of the space, I can now delete the first word of a sentence. So using the delete procedure, okay, remember delete is called with 3 parameters. Where I want to delete from, I want to delete from sSent. I want to start at position 1. And how many characters I want to take? I want to take ipos number of characters. So I want to start at position 1. Remember that a string starts at index 1. And I want to delete from index 1 to the position of the space. Let's look at let's look at an example. Today is an exciting day. So the position of the space is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is at position 6. So it's going to delete from ascent, start at position 1 and take iPod's number of characters. So it's going to delete from there, including the position of the space. Okay, so let's display it. I'm displaying on a rich edit. .lines, .add, and let's display the value of ascent. Okay, so let's run it. And let's type in the example that I've given you. Today is an exciting day. And delete the first word, and it deletes from position 1, including the position of the space. Thank you, students, for listening. Stay inspired, stay motivated, and follow me on my next video.